So back in the day, dating was like dinner and a movie. And now it's keeping up with all the terms and the things you have to watch out for on the apps. So who do we turn to? Dr. Viviana, to keep us up to date and maybe help us score a date? I could use one. Here's our conversation. All right, Dr. Viviana, today we're talking about something called future faking. So let our audience know what that is.
So future faking, it happens when someone makes big promises about their intentions for the future of the relationship with very little to no intention of actually following through. Ugh.
That's the worst.
I know.
That's the worst.
Yeah, it sounds like they could be having a really romantic moment, but instead they just notice that the actions never really line up with what they've said and what they promised.
It's almost like I've heard it called future tripping too, where you're tripping out on the future. Break it down a little bit more from us. What are some common signs to watch out for?
So they may want to continue, they just keep talking about, oh, when this happens, when I get this money, when we buy this house, when we have these kids. But then the day-to-day doesn't actually seem like they're making any headway. There's no progress. There's no, maybe they have these great discussions and conversations, but then they never follow up. They don't really have anything to share whenever you follow up. And so, yeah, it can definitely be something where you're thinking we're going to move in together. We're having all these things, but it's very one-sided.
I get that. Is there a certain timeline in the relationship where this usually starts to happen?
Yeah. So I think typically it's when things get a little bit more serious or should be getting a little bit more serious, and they may not be ready for those steps. Again, it goes back to some emotional immaturity. Sometimes it is actually intentional manipulation. Some people just kind of get off on being that way and keeping you on the hook. But most of the time it's just knowing that they're not ready, but they're supposed to be. So then they fake that they are. So probably around the 3 to 6 month mark, when people are starting to have a discussion about where are we going? What's the future of our relationship? And it's very vague. It can seem very romantic, but it's not really thought out. There's a lot of holes.
Interesting. Okay, so let's say this happens to you.
Yeah.
Steps on what you should do. What should someone do?
Yeah. Bring the conversation back to the present. What are we doing today that is going to get us to tomorrow? If that way, there's no squirming, there's no trying to predict the future. You're literally just no, let's talk about today.
Yeah.
What are you doing? What am I doing? How are we working together, with the keyword being together, to work towards this future that you've shared that you want just as much as I do? Right. And if they're avoiding that clarity, if they're avoiding or delaying those conversations, oh, I don't really feel like talking about that right now. They're kind of always redirecting and not taking accountability, then chances are they're not really aligned with your goals, and you need to call them out on it.
Nice. Call them out. Okay, why would someone want to do this? And is there ever a time in which this is a good thing or, well-intentioned?
Well-intentioned, and I see this all the time as a relationship therapist. I'm constantly working with couples where one partner is trying to avoid conflict. They don't know how to have conversations, or they worry that their partner doesn't know how to have tough conversations without it turning into a royal rumble or without it turning into threats of a breakup. So they might avoid conflict. They also might feel like they're a little bit embarrassed or ashamed that they aren't in a place to be able to actually follow through with some of these bigger life goals and milestones.
Yes.
Society puts a lot of pressure, especially on young people, to get it together and keep it together. And, I feel like sometimes they can think, well, gosh, I'm already in my mid-30s, or I'm in my late 20s. And by this time, my friends or my family were already doing X, Y, and Z.
Totally.
And so they sometimes can just feel a little bit behind and a little ashamed about it.
I have felt that, and I understand that so well. I want to thank you for this, because I think this is a really niche thing, but a lot of people can understand it. I will not future fake seeing you again, because I am sure
We're going to do this. I'm holding you to
We're
it.
not future faking it. Thank you so much, Dr. Viviana. You've been amazing. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Continue the conversation with Dr. Viviana. Find her online at drviviana.com/vivid relationships or download her free new app. It's called Vivid Relationships. We'd also love to ask your relationship questions to her, so please send your questions our way via email to mycoco@9news.com.